ever worried that you might be the cool kid? You wear the latest fashions on top of all the trends. Or have you ever worried you were too much in the mainstream? Always so generic, more normal than your friends. Well, we've devised a test to put to rest your fears. There's no need to panic if you lend us your ears. Tonight you can't sleep easy after all that you've heard. Cause if you like the show, then you're probably a nerd. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all. With Tyler, Phil, and Boris. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all in Canon.
It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for a new episode of the It's Canon podcast, the podcast where we talk about all things geek, the podcast where we talk about all things pop culture, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything, because as the title of the show says, it's all in canon. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and as always, I am joined by Phil.
I am a brontosaurus.
What?
And Tyler.
Hey!
All right, there we go. It's the three of us for the first time in 2022, and on today's episode, we are finally going to be doing our 2021 retrospective, best and worst. We have a few categories to go through. We're going to be talking about the year that was, and then we're going to really be talking about, what we expect for the next year in the world of geek, in the world of pop culture, and if the beginning of 2022 has anything to say, then, well, it's going to be a hell of a year.
That it is. Man, oh man.
Man, oh man, indeed. How's it going, guys? How are you, Tyler?
Hey, it's booster day. We're recording a little bit earlier than normal because I get my booster tonight, which is, I'm excited about that. And other than that, I have so much work to do before the end of the month. So I am champing at the bit to get us moving.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I am super, super busy, both with work and both with the other stuff. And it's just been a very hectic couple weeks, going to be a hectic couple weeks leading into February. But everything is good. Phil, how are you?
I'm doing good, life is quiet right now. I got the big birthday coming up tomorrow.
Yes, you do.
And so I've taken some time off work to finally get caught up after everybody seemingly had the holidays off, and I worked through it. So my voice is a little rough. I apologize for that. I had a little episode last week and hurt my vocal cords again in the only way that I know how to, and that was by putting on I apparently I'm very sensitive, and I put on an N95 mask fresh out of the package, and that mask was so cleansed and so fragrant with cleansing product that it made me upchuck.
Wow.
So I was just like, oh, I don't like this. Oh my. And yeah, that hurt my vocal cords. So
Not fun.
the acidic kind of reaction.
So they get you.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, it was.
This is the most Phil thing ever.
I know.
It was too clean, and it hurt his delicate sensibilities. How are you, Boris?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's really not that funny, but
It's kind of funny.
It's one of those days.
I had to go to a doctor's appointment. I was going to use the N95.
Yeah.
I didn't use that N95.
That was gonna be my next question. Did you use the one that you upchucked on?
No, I left that one out for a few days, and then it's fine to wear now. It's a 3M. I don't know what they do, the chemical bath that they put that thing in, but it was not fun.
Yeah, exactly. Phil and I are here drenched in snow. We had about, at least 15 inches, 20 inches, realistically?
I would say I just did some shoveling, and there is at least a foot and a half out where I am.
Yeah, that's about 18
And it was
inches
still
there.
snowing.
Yep, it's still snowing. It hasn't really
crazy.
stopped for the past almost 24 hours. It's a legit snowfall, and Ontario is handling exactly how you would expect Ontario to handle it.
Well, we haven't called out the army
Yet. But this is that snowfall that could call that. I was just looking right now. There's people stuck on our major highways, and they've been there literally all day. People trying to trek to work.
Just don't go.
Yeah.
So
Look, Tyler, if the pandemic has proven anything, it is that people are willing to go to work no matter what.
if the pandemic has proven anything, it's that apparently East Coasters are the only goddamn sensible people on the planet, because we got in my neck of the woods, which admittedly I'm in a weird spot, so we got a lot. We got 30 inches.
Yeah.
So, like, literally, my poor dog, has not gone for a good walk. Like, he's outside. I'm still making sure he goes to the bathroom. But he's getting old, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that. We're playing in the house. I'll get my wheels out that way. Because he goes outside, and the snow is taller than he is. And he's like, nope.
What weird hell have you brought me to?
Yeah, he loves it when it's cold out. But he's like, nope, the snow, it touches my undercarriage.
Yeah.
The Ghibli bits get cold, and none of that. And the government here was like, just don't go anywhere. Just stay home.
Yeah,
And everyone here was like, sounds good. And most businesses were like, yeah, we just closed. Everything's closed. Stay at home.
Sensible people, my goodness.
It's bizarre.
crazy.
Well, I got to get me to a Walmart after this.
That sounds about right. Bill, right.
No!
I'm going to take my life in my hands and get to the Walmart just so I can get some chicken fingers.
Jesus Christ.
Gotta get that $6.99 pre-cooked whole chicken.
Yeah, man, I want some nuggies.
It's going to be one of those episodes again.
We are here talking about...
Again,
Oh.
guys. All right, Tyler. You know what happened last week where your better half was not feeling well, so you couldn't make the
Died.
recording. Hopefully she's feeling
Literally
better.
the same color as the wall.
That's attractive right there.
Oh, yeah. Not good.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
We had the conversation of we were sitting on the couch and I look over and I go, "Oh, you're not well," and she's like, "No, I'm good," and I was like, "No, you're dying."
That is crazy. All right, so you couldn't make it. We've been planning this retrospective episode for the past few weeks. The first time I couldn't make it because of the internet. The second time we I think again the internet, and then last week was you. So Phil and I had one of those episodes. Literally, right half an hour before we started recording, we kind of had to make do with what we had. It's one of those random shit episodes.
Okay.
You know exactly where I'm going with this in terms of the list.
I know where we're going.
There?
What?
What happened?
Oh no, the listener number is relatively high.
They went up.
Yeah,
What the hell?
They don't know what they want.
No, it was fun. It was fun. Like, as much as there wasn't a lot of news over that time, and I don't think a lot of people are producing podcasts, like fresh podcasts in that time. So, we threw down a recording. That's about as much as I could say about it.
Words were said.
Words were said.
And it's not much sense was made. Kind of like me right now. But I'm just looking at our numbers right now, and they're down a little bit. But all podcasts are down at the beginning of the year. Even all my other ones are down right now. I'm gonna go with it's beginning of the year, not me. But yeah, it's just it's crazy. It's like I see the one from last week and the one that you guys did the week before, and it's just like, yeah, those are pretty high. Our Christmas special is doing fairly well as well. Good on you, which is interesting because it's actually had more listeners after the first week than during the first week.
I mean, that might be people doing their catch up, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Like, and I say this with love to podcast listeners. Who's listening to podcasts over the Christmas break if you're not going to work and stuff, right? Like,
yep,
yeah. Or they're just going, ha ha.
Yep,
exactly. And that's the funny part, right? Like, it's trying to figure out exactly what people want to hear. It's becoming very difficult because
Wow.
one of the things I'm noticing is having a timeless podcast where it's not really tied to specific events per se, right? But having it open enough where, hey, if something major happens, we can talk about it and people are going to listen to it maybe a little later. But, we don't need to have the breaking news show. That's for sure one thing I'm noticing more. And I love the fact that we're just having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Breaking news is not the thing it used to be.
No.
It's just like we've always said, though. Let's make the show that we want to make, and either people like it or they don't, right? It's geek therapy for us. We get on here, we hit the record button, and we have a conversation that we'd have even if we weren't recording it. So, it is what it is at this point. If there's a major issue, sure, let us know. Like if something's offside.
Being a communist.
Yeah, if you want to compliment us on our nice shade of pinkoism, then go right ahead.
Which is doubly funny because I'm writing a book, and like so much of this book is me slagging communism, so it's very funny.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is actually
one of my new clients is like, write about the 1920s, and I'm like, here's the bullshit the communists were up to.
Amazing. What a day. Man.
Tyler, the creative historian.
I lived my entire life between 1870 and 1931.
Why not?
That's what I get paid to do.
Right? Pays bills. More power to you.
But we are talking about our best and worst.
Exactly. We are talking about our best and worst. 2021. Might as well jump into it because I want to give Tyler enough time to get his booster. So let's just jump right into it. We have a couple categories, enough categories to make this interesting. We're actually only going to do, 5 categories? But there will be a good discussion. 5 categories.
3 categories?
5.
5.
3, 4, 5. 5 categories.
I think I misunderstood our discussion from earlier today.
I think we did too.
Here's an important thing. Don't retool the discussion that we all agreed to 3 weeks ago on the morning of.
Afternoon.
I thought Boris said I was right. Well, it's fine.
All right, well, let's you know what? Let's have some fun. Tyler.
I'm sure you'll pull it out.
What do you want to do?
I mean, I thought the discussion today was about collapsing it into played, watched, read.
Yes.
And then platform.
Yes.
Which is 4, not 5. What's the 5th, Boris?
And then I said we will take watched and split that into movies and TV.
Movies and TV.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You said played, comma, watched, parentheses, movie, comma, TV, close parentheses, read, platform.
Okay.
Which implies that we could do movies and television as one category. So I could split this up. This is going to be fine.
Yeah. I think we should split them up.
That is open to interpretation.
This is all predicated on Boris being able to read.
Sure.
I'm kidding.
This is predicated on me talking English good, writing English good.
Exactly.
All right. 5 categories. Here we are. 2021 retrospect of 5 categories, best and worst. All right, let's start with the best because everyone usually likes to listen to the worst. They have a good chuckle with the worst. So let's start with played. Best played, Tyler.
Chronicles of Time. I've been stuck in quarantine more of this year than not. Chronicles of Time is a weird new beast in that it's both a board game, but also you have like a VR app that goes with it where you are solving crimes across time. So I'm back to the Kickstarter. It's also called Chronicles of Crime, and then there's various versions of it. I have all of them. They're all great. Just go to the 1900s and solve steampunk crimes. Or go to the future and become a cyborg and get robot parts and solve crimes. It's all great.
Well, there you go.
Chronicles
Interesting.
It's co-op. It's local. You can do it by yourself or with someone you care about.
That's
stuff.
cool. I like
Good
it.
stuff.
It's outside the box, man.
Phil.
Oh, well, there's no doubt for me, Forza Horizon 5. Video game.
Yep.
I've plugged more, like between that and Dirt 5. They're both pretty much the same type of game. And I poured at the beginning of the year when you guys were able to hook me up with the PS5. I went absolutely crazy, batshit insane on Dirt 5. And I've equally gone off the deep end on Forza Horizon 5. So when you're in the top 1% of people gaming that game in the world with over 15 million players, I hate to think how much time I've actually spent behind the wheel,
Uh-oh.
even to the point where I bought a wheel. So,
Look
figure.
at that. Look at that. All right. So my number one game of 2021, it's funny enough because it's a game that I didn't actually get until much later in the year. Thoroughly enjoyed it just because they don't make fun one-player games like this anymore. That's Guardians of the Galaxy. I had a lot of fun playing that game. It was just a shit ton of fun, honestly. And like I say, they don't make games like this anymore. You know, everything is co-op, everything is online, everything is you know, it's very rare to find a good one-player game with a great story. And Tyler's looking at me like I'm an idiot.
I'm just like, everything on my list is one player.
Well,
Yeah.
ones that I enjoy. I don't know. It's like I don't know. It is what it is.
that is an honorable mention for me. I actually have it written in. Like, that would be Guardians of the Galaxy. If somebody else picked one of my games, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to switch it up and switch to Guardians easily. Now, that being said, underpinning that, your comment, though, Boris, interesting part, Dirt 5 is pretty much a single-player game. And Forza Horizon 5, whereas online as it is, there's absolutely no ability to purchase any crap in the game.
See?
You just buy the game and you play it.
Crazy concept.
Yeah. So I think that's the real underpin here, is that there's no microtransactions. There's no forced interactive play. There's, you know what I mean? It pretty much could be a very singular experience. Like, I can just play it solo. Who cares? There's other people in the world. They're transparent to me. I don't have to worry about them. So I find that that's an interesting thing. And I know Tyler's on board with that.
I love not dealing with other people.
Yeah.
Just love it.
Yep.
Well,
Exactly.
But
No, I'm agreeing with you.
I feel it.
All right. Let us move to watch. Let's start with movies. Tyler, best movie of 2021.
Mitchell's versus the Machines. I mean, first of all, I think there's a lot of bad movies of 2021. I think there's a lot of mediocre movies of 2021. There wasn't a lot, for me, there was not a lot fighting for top of that pack. And Mitchell's versus the Machines is just, it's fun, it's silly, it does a different variation on like some pretty old themes of like families learning to get to work together.
It was a good one. It
Solid.
definitely was.
Not
That's
cute
Lord Miller,
animations.
right?
Huh?
Lord Miller, right?
Yes, it is. How about
Yeah.
yourself?
For movie, come on, I'm a sci-fi guy. I got to pick Dune. I loved it. I even to the point where I bought it on 4K Blue or 4K Super Ray or whatever the hell they call it. I watched it the other night and just on the big sound with the 7.1 surround sound cranked. The house was rattling and I was just moved. Like, that movie, every time I watch it, I pick up on something different. I pick on subtleties. I just enjoy the cinematography, the presentation, and the music. And I'm so glad that the second one's coming. So for me, that one was an odd one. I wasn't quite sure because there was a lot of mediocrity in this year.
Yes.
Like, I have a sandwich shit ton of honorable mentions like Free Guy and stuff like that, but nothing that made it good enough for me to think that was a great movie. When I look back on this year, what am I going to remember? For me, it's Dune. Boris?
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to have to. Dune was actually going to be my choice as well. I really enjoyed that overall. But I have also written down here, it's a movie called Vivo. It is an animated movie very good, very well done. It's starring Lin-Manuel Miranda, Zoe Saldana, Juan de Marcos. So it's a pretty good cast. It's a fun movie. It's from Netflix, Sony Pictures. It's a really little fun movie. It's kind of in the same vein as like Encanto and those types of movies. As you know, I talked about that last week. I just love that colorful, happy movie. There's just something to be said about picking something that made you happy in 2021, considering the year that 2021 really was.
That's true. Hey, man, like we could easily pick, like, to be controversial, Don't Look Up.
I mean, I enjoyed Don't Look Up. I don't think it was a great movie.
I don't think it was the best of the year. No, I just enjoyed it for the commentary that it was.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there's nothing wrong with a movie that makes you feel good, I guess, is my point to Boris. And you're right.
100%.
Right? If you're just gonna sit down and watch a movie and just have fun with it, man, you guys pick two movies that are fun to watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I would say Dune's fun to watch too, but
I mean,
for me,
if we did enough of like a high, like if we did like previous years where we had like our bottom 5, Dune would have been one of my bottom 5.
interesting. But there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
I could see it not being the movie for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that I think it suffers from briefly that problem that a lot of books, like a lot of book to movie adaptations do, of what do you cut and what don't you? And I think it tries to hews itself to being too faithful to its detriment.
Fair.
I find it so bloated. But
I found the first watch through was a little bit difficult, and then I found that I enjoyed each subsequent watch through. Appreciated it even more, but it's an odd thing to sit there and have a movie that goes and then becomes something else.
Yeah.
totally.
Not
Exactly.
everybody's going to give it that chance, right? And I don't blame them. It's a big bite, that movie.
Yeah, it's gone through production, developmental hell how many times? Like every time they've tried to adapt this, right? It's never gone well.
Yeah, and for me, a movie that came out this year that it mirrors it a little bit is like Black Widow, where it was supposed to come out a lot earlier. It stalled. It just took forever to get out there. And then for me, Black Widow underperformed. And no matter how much I gave it a shot, it didn't get better for me. But Dune performed the opposite way in that sense. But that's just me. It could arguably been a 2021 film.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's move on to Best TV Show of 2021. Tyler.
Great North. Great North. It's a phenomenal show.
Whoa.
I continue to sing its praises. I think it's one of the smartest and at the same time like most loving shows out there. It regularly will do stuff like it'll make gay jokes that are like legitimately funny. One of my favorite jokes from the show remains from the pilot, where people are yelling and fighting, and one of the middle children of the family goes, "I'm gay," and everyone's like, "We know, you've told us multiple times, and we love you. We have another problem right now."
That's amazing. I love that.
It's such a good joke. It's such a loving show, and we need more of that.
Yeah, we really do. We really
It's a
do.
good show. You turned me on to it last year. I think it was your pick last year too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, season 2 is even better.
Yeah.
They brought a lot more people in. It's got a great cast.
It's got a wonderful cast.
It's a
Got
great
Nick
cast.
Offerman as the dad. So good.
Yeah, Nick's one of my favorites.
Oh,
I
he's
love
so
him.
good.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Phil. I'm kind of worried that you and I are going to pick the same thing, so go ahead.
Well, I don't know, man. I've picked something pretty wackadoodle here.
All right.
I have an honorable mention, but I have a feeling that maybe that's what you're going to pick. So I definitely will avoid
Hit
that
me with
one.
both. No, hit me with both. It's
Let us
okay.
find out.
Okay, my honorable mention would have been Sweet Tooth. Because Sweet Tooth did blow me away legit. So, and I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
My best, another Netflix show, Cowboy Bebop.
There you go. Look at that. It's funny because we can almost say that your list is Tyler's worst of list.
Pretty
No.
much.
No, those shows were fine. I mean, I didn't get into Sweet Tooth during the first round solely because that's when I canceled Netflix on an unrelated issue, and I haven't gotten to watching it yet.
Yeah.
Those are both good shows. Like they wouldn't be my top, but you know.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
Sweet Tooth I found to be extremely touching, right?
Yeah.
Like the storyline blew me away. You guys leaned me into it, and it legitimately was my surprise. I found myself looking forward to each episode.
Mhm.
Cowboy
Yeah.
Bebop. I enjoy Cowboy Bebop because that was something that I was really stoked into last year for the anime. So it was fun to see it come to life for me and stay true to its thing. It's canceled. We all know. People are trying to revive it. Go people. Boris, what'd you pick?
All right. So I picked two just because I had this weird feeling that you were gonna pick one of them. So I have obviously my honorable mention and then my best of. My honorable mention is Reservation Dogs. Have you guys seen this show?
Love it. Such a good show.
Very good.
On Disney
Very
Plus.
good. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
By Waititi, and I always forget the other person's name.
Same. But yeah, it's good. It's a very
Made
good
by
show.
Waititi and Sterling Harjo.
Yep. So good. Such a good show. Such a good show.
Oh,
So hang on. Taika Waititi does this one?
so
Yep.
Taika Waititi
Nice.
was responsible for it getting funding. I remember the story. Like, so the other it's Taika Waititi and Sterling Harjo created it together, and Sterling Harjo's like kind of been a cult name. If I remember correctly, in like certain circles, like this is a bit of a big break for him.
Yeah.
And what was your other one, Boris?
All right. But I'm pretty sure this was my top show last year. I gotta look back. Regardless, it's Ted Lasso season 2. Again,
So up there.
just happy. You see what I'm going for? Positivity, happiness, just something that made me smile as I'm watching.
I really love Ted Lasso, and I agree with you that is probably truly the best show of the year. However, I found season 2 was absolutely gut-wrenching in a good way.
Yeah.
I didn't find it to be as happy. It was to the point where my niece came to me and she said, "We're going to watch Ted Lasso season 2 this week." And I told her, "Get a carton of tissues." And she's like, "What?" And I go, "It's a good thing, but you're going to need them." And she texted me the other night and she goes, "I just finished the finale." And I said, "And?" And she goes, "I made a lot of noises."
Yeah.
Honestly,
Honestly,
tough, man.
Yeah, that show. I know people who loathe footy, soccer, and they love this show.
Mhm.
It just goes to show you,
Well,
like,
yeah.
it's 100% secondary to the actual show itself, to what's
Yeah,
going
You don't
on.
have
Plot conceivably could map onto any sort of sports drama or almost any office drama, really.
Well, as long as you have a team, like
Yeah.
the core element is team and family, right?
Yep.
So that's got to be one thing. But it's very similar to what was it, the chess show on Netflix, right?
Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. You didn't have to appreciate chess to appreciate what the characters were going through, right? You just had to have a basic understanding of she's playing a game, and the same way that like soccer or footy is to Ted Lasso. Right?
Yeah.
You could take a Major League Baseball team. Doesn't matter. Same principle. It's a guy who's out of his element and whose only superpower is positivity.
Well, and radical love and acceptance. Like it's radical kindness.
Yeah, well, he's very empathetic, right? Like, or he tries to be, and that was the key to season 2, is breaking that down, right? And that crushed me. Oh my gosh, Boris. That crushed me.
Oh, I know. I remember. We would talk
Yeah.
shortly after every episode, and the reactions were there. There were reactions.
Yep.
But yeah, so that is my best show of 2021. We're going to move to red, the red category. Tyler, what is the best thing you've read in 2021?
I mean, this goes back to like the beginning of 2021, but it's Good Asian. Good Asian was one of the best things all year.
Damn it, that was mine.
One of the best things that came out all year. Fight me.
I love
mean,
it.
Again, this was a year that I found it was so easy to fill out the things I didn't like.
Yes.
And there was a lot of it was pretty good. Like Free Guy, it's a solid movie, but I would feel weird saying it was best of the year. No. And that's what I had with reading. Like The Expanse ended and I was like, yeah, it's done. I didn't love that finale.
Yeah.
Are you talking the show or the book?
The book. The book. Project Hail Mary came out, Andy Weir's follow-up to The Martian, and it's good. It's kind of just The Martian again.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys were talking about that a few months ago. I started it, but I'm like, eh. They were kind of just tossed aside.
It's not great. It's good. I enjoyed it. If you liked The Martian a lot, I'd recommend it.
That's 100% Phil's choice, isn't it?
Is it? Phil, what's your best read of the year?
It wasn't that, believe me.
Okay.
You might have just tipped it off for another list.
There you go. All right, Phil, what is your... All right, so going back to The Good Asian. So both Tyler and I obviously like this a lot.
I liked it
too. Film noir, this is the comic for you. This is from Image Comics. Amazing story. It reminds me of a good Ed Brubaker comic.
Yep. I would argue good Brubaker also does Prime.
Yes.
Because I have found personally that I have found his recent stuff doesn't hit quite as hard.
Yeah. I agree with you. But yeah, Good Asian is so freaking good. It's so well done. And the story is great. It's just one of those you know what I like the most about it? It's the fact that it felt like a different take on something that we've seen 1,001 times.
So interestingly, I have been doing a deep dive into the film noir and the origins of the genre.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a long history of West Coast Asian detective novels.
Interesting.
With one of the first ones being a series about a Chinese detective in Hawaii.
There you go. Look at that. Love it. Very cool.
There's some good stuff out there.
Yeah, for sure. And it's it's funny that you bring that up just because it just goes, I find it funny how easily things are forgotten and left to history, right? Until you really do some searching, really do some research. It's just it's out there, but it's forgotten of.
Charlie Chan, that's who it is.
Very cool.
Books. I mean, I think it's by a white guy, which is not great, but
yeah. Well,
it was.
Yeah. Also, your mic is really dying out.
1890s was his first one, I think, when he was writing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Phil, best read in 2021.
I'm going the way of the comic book yet again. And I'm going to choose Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters. I'm sorry, but I got into that one and really enjoyed the fact that Kira's back. They're continuing on kind of where Solo left off, and they're messing with Boba Fett, man. They're trying to steal out his carbonite captive before he gets delivered to Jabba the Hutt, and all the Star Warsing ensues.
Yep.
But I'll give an honorable mention to another Star Wars book, and that would be Star Wars, an actual novel called Star Wars Ronin, which came out of the Star Wars Visions storylines. So that one is equally magnificent in the fact that it finally gets into a world that's not canon and is all balls out Star Wars. So I enjoy it. I enjoy it for what it is. I enjoy the link to the ancient Japanese kind of Ronin samurai-esque settings with
Yep.
lightsabers.
Yeah, it's very cool. All right, so obviously my number one choice was The Good Asian, but I had two backups just in case for this very reason. And I kind of want to name this one for my honorable mention just because it is near and dear to my heart in a nostalgia point of view, and that's TMNT, The Last Ronin. I loved it. You know, having Eastman and Laird back and doing stuff was wonderful. And just the story is really good. And, you know, it really reminds me of the original comics because, you know, TMNT is dark.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's
it wasn't
that.
all cowabunga, dude. It wasn't
Exactly.
all cowabunga.
That was, you know, more the second movies, and then the cartoon really kind of made it that, like, that happy-go-lucky type of whatever that was. But my number one choice for Best Read in 2021 was from Boom Studios. This is a comic book, and it's The Many Deaths of Layla Starr.
I can see that. It's a very Boris read.
It really is. It really is. It's just weird out there. First issue, your hero dies, stuff ensues.
Yep.
I liked it a lot.
No, I also read it. It was another thing that, like, I was like, no, it's good. It just wasn't. It didn't make my top of the list.
Yeah.
Didn't tickle the fancies.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny just because, like, I was really struggling because I was going through my iPad trying to find, like, everything that I actually read, right? And, like, books and stuff. And I'm like, man, the books I read in 2021 were very weird. Either they weren't good or they were, like, not, like life's fucked type of stories.
I read a lot of stuff not from 2021 this year.
Yeah.
That threw me off. Like, I was going over books this year, and I'm like, nope, this is from, like, 1990. This is from...
Yeah, but I still say that kind of stuff qualifies because it's something you found. And
Oh, totally.
When we talk about it on the show, right, and we go, I have a whole bunch of lists on Spotify, and I call it my 2021 list, and I got to start up my 2022. It doesn't necessarily have to be music from that year. It has to be music I found in this year. Right?
Yeah.
So you share it, and then you tell somebody else, and then they go and they consume it, and they go, this is great.
I feel ya. My concern is that, like, everything I read like that for this year doesn't fit the list either, though, right? Like, it's like, oh, I read a great book on, like, the history of the LGBT people from 1933 to 1937 in New York. And it's like, okay, no one else cares.
Yeah. That's the problem. Some of the stuff that I read, I know it's kind of like, you know, it's no one, not even you guys would pick this up, right? Like, so I'm trying to find something that our listeners would be like, hey, yeah. That's
try to
something I
fit
want
the
to pick
format. You guys don't want to hear Dave Grohl's like autobiography.
up. Actually, I wouldn't mind reading that, to be honest.
Oh, the audiobook is great. He narrates it.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah. That'd be
Very
the one that I would only ever do, like, listening. I wouldn't read that one. I'd audiobook it.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's this part he loves Toronto and Canada so much.
I know.
It is, and the way he talks about Canada. If you're not proud as a Canadian, I don't know what. Like, Dave Grohl has such reverence. My goodness, what a man.
Yeah.
And just what a dude overall, and what a life. So,
Yeah,
and he's
for
still
sure.
got more to live.
And I just love the fact that he's just having fun with projects at this point, right? Like, they have the movie coming out. They have had that disco project. Like, they're just going balls deep with whatever they can do creatively, and it's just like, why not?
If you're locked up, right, in lockdown, and you what do you do if you're a musician? Let's record an album. What do you do if you're Dave Grohl? Let's record the album and then record it as a disco album, and we'll make a movie at the same time starring us and our friends.
Yeah.
And it will be a horror movie. Like, come on, man. Like, I wish I had that much money and talent.
And
'Cause that's
also
the two
a
things.
line of chocolates. Like,
Yeah.
sure, okay, Dave Grohl, you could tell me anything.
Exactly. All right, the last category of the best of is the best platform of 2021. Tyler, it's your turn.
I mean, I'm not happy that it's Disney Plus. Like, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
But also, like, we canceled everything this year.
Yeah.
And then my parents were like, "Oh, we'll just add you to ours." And we go to Disney Plus a lot, and it's just because everything's there, right? It's like, oh, you want to watch Star Wars? It's Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You want to watch Marvel? Because there's a new Marvel or Star Wars thing every goddamn month for the rest of your life. It's all on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Great North, Disney Plus week after. Bob's Burgers, Disney Plus week after.
Yeah, so what
crazy.
makes Disney Plus that much better here in Canada is the fact that we do get the Star service attached to it. So that really opens up Disney Plus to so much here in Canada, because it essentially takes like the best of Hulu. Anything that Hulu hasn't signed away, they kind of move it to the Stars. So our Disney Plus here in Canada is just phenomenal. Has stuff, wide-ranging stuff.
I think it's Parks and Rec.
Yep, it has Parks and Rec, How I Met Your Mother, because How I Met Your Mother actually left Netflix at the end of last year. It's just crazy what it has right now. It's so much.
The funny thing is that before exactly that, it used to be Netflix would buy these things off of Hulu to bring to our marketplace. And that would bind us to Netflix more. And now that Star's there, it's just like, oh man, they're just like killing contracts left, right, and center and just throw them on Star. Who cares?
Well, it's weird. Like it's still a gamble to see where stuff ends up, right?
Yeah.
Because there's some shows I know as a fact that are on Hulu that are on Amazon Prime, for example.
Yeah. It all depends on the contracts beforehand, but
yeah, exactly.
You're guaranteed as they peter out, they'll probably just go to Star.
Yeah.
Like that's the funny bit. It's just hit monkey. It still hasn't shown up on Star, but you know it will.
Yep.
Such a weird good show.
Yeah, another Ted Lasso reach around.
Yeah. What's his name does such a good job in it.
What's his name? You know that guy. What's his name, Phil?
Yeah,
Jason Sudeikis. The Ted Lasso reach around comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil,
if you want to see Ted Lasso swear, hit monkey.
I mean, pretty close.
Yeah. Phil,
well, I can only imagine the
okay, you guys keep talking
for
sure,
Ted Lasso.
Go ahead.
No, I can only imagine the overdubs of Ted Lasso just with hit monkey. But anyhow, my best streaming service. What was your best
platform, Phil?
My best platform, honorable mention Apple TV Plus and Disney Plus, but I'm gonna go with YouTube again, man. Jeez, YouTube just kills on my consumption.
Interesting.
So
very interesting.
On that, so the issue I had with YouTube this year, and what actually caused me to move away from it, is a combination of people I like and content I like increasingly moving away from the platform because it is increasingly unfriendly to certain kinds of creators, and the fact there's so many ads now. Are you not seeing that? Have I screwed up my algorithm and I'm just getting insane ads?
I don't know about you guys. I know Boris is on my plan because Boris is my brother. But I have a family plan.
Oh, you have the plan.
So I pay to get rid of those ads.
Fair.
What's hilarious about that, Phil, is I was doing a review show, wrestling review show, and the particular show was on YouTube. It's MLW, Major League Wrestling. They put everything on YouTube the next night, so that's typically where I watch stuff. So my experience and my podcast partner Matt, his experience, night and day, because of that very reason, because of the commercials. And I keep forgetting. I honestly forgot that I'm on your plan and I don't see the ads, I don't see commercials, I don't see any of that. So I'm like, I'm loving it. It's this 40 minutes wrestling show, consumed it very fast and yada yada yada. And then there was Matt, who would just in the middle of a match they would throw ads and ads here, ads there. Just like apparently Tyler is right, where it is getting worse.
Yep, I accidentally a couple times I've gone to YouTube, I've not been logged in. So I'm using like an anonymous account or whatever. And I get the hell? I get upset because I'm like, that's an ad. There's no supposed to be any ads. Yeah. And then I'm like scrambling to find out why didn't it log me in? Why didn't it use my account? Why didn't it use my Gmail? Right. So I do know that the ads are bad because it'll just arbitrarily put an ad in the middle of a section. Mm-hmm. And then it's right at the end. It's the money spot that you watch the video for, whether it be to find a video game cheat or whatever, right? A podcast, a vlog, whatever it is, and then the ad comes in. When you have premium, you don't have that. So you get to consume the content, right? So number one, you get to consume the stuff that you buy off of Google TV. So it just all goes into YouTube anyway. And then you also get all of your creator content stuff. So like Peter McKinnon and Unbox Therapy and Lou Later and all these other things that I enjoy exclusively off of YouTube. And I spend more time with that in the background, watching it, consuming it, listening to it, and enjoying it. Even if the content is varying right now, like Marquez Brown and everybody is all about Teslas. I'm not going to have a Tesla anytime soon, I don't think. But you know what I mean? Like, I just found that was where my eyeballs and my attention span for all of the streaming services inevitably goes. That's my comfort food is YouTube. And I'm going to watch Disney Plus, it's going to be a focused thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know a lot of people, if we were in the States, we would probably pick YouTube just because of the YouTube TV service. I know a lot of people, that's how they watch TV now, and they just sign up through YouTube over Hulu, and, you know, they have fun. They go with it, right? And you're seeing a lot of content creators and companies creating their specialized channels on YouTube, you know, for a price, for that premium price. And I think 2022 is honestly going to be the year of YouTube. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but, you know, YouTube is doing stuff, you know, to monetize, and it seems to be getting a lot of traction in the right direction.
Oh yeah, I think that generally they're going to drive away people like me and get a lot more people in the progress. Like, I'm not saying YouTube's doing the wrong move. It's just, it's becoming increasingly like a place I don't go.
Yeah. Totally.
Boris, what's your
top?
Right.
So, you know, it's funny because you guys kind of like talked about how you chose this. Phil, you brought up a great point when you said that, you know, Disney Plus, it's a very focused watch, right? Because that's how I feel about a lot of streaming services. Where I spend actually the most time is Amazon Prime. I actually watch a lot of stuff on Amazon Prime. You know, I think that I was tossing and turning between Amazon Prime and Crave, but here's the thing. This is what it comes down to. The base package of Crave. You know, we've talked about this in the past, where it is just, you know, the Bell Media stuff.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And then you have to pay an extra, you know, $10, $20 for the HBO stuff.
Yep.
Once you add all the money, and then you pay like $5 for Stars, because Stars has some pretty good stuff, right? So at the end of the day, you're paying $30 for Crave. Now, when you pay that much, yeah, Crave is great and everything, you know, but there's Amazon Prime. Similar issues, because here in Canada, you can add a bunch of channels like Hey You. You can add a Stacked, which is Chorus, so like global and stuff like that.
Adult
Showcase. And you know, so I'm predicating this mainly on the fact that I do have Amazon Prime with MGM, with Hey You, because, you know, Boris loves his reality TV, so Boris needs his Hey You. But yeah, I spend a lot of time on Amazon Prime, but I do want to predicate this with the fact that I do have some add-ons.
Right. Good point. You know, if I'm being honest, and I think a lot of people are moving in this direction too, probably my number one, like, late pick out of
Plex.
this year has been Plex. Like, because I could get rid of Crave. I don't care anymore. I don't care about HBO. I don't care about any of that stuff, because odds are it's going to be on my friends' Plexes.
Yep.
I will say, if you are a person who loves shit like RuPaul, like my partner, Crave is where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But again, there's so many options. We've talked about this for how many years, Tyler, where it's getting so ridiculous at this point, and every company is creating a streaming service for their subsidiaries, and it's just becoming absolutely crazy at this point.
I believe the word is fragmented.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, Phil's right. That is the right business word. The market is becoming increasingly fragmented.
Yeah.
And I am worried that we are creating a system where you either spend a bajillion
Yeah.
or
back on cable.
or we have cable again.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's chafing.
I will say
My work.
this. I will give credit, and I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I will give credit to Bell and Rogers for their, their fiber options. For example, you have Fibe TV with Bell, you have Ignite with Rogers. Those are great options. Now, the reason why I say this is because, what a lot of people don't realize is that you can now go to CTV, you can go to Global, you can go to City TV, just log on with your credentials and you get everything. What I love about that is the fact that with these services from these big companies, you actually get, they're on demand, and you can watch everything right at the right there, right? So you don't have to subscribe to all these crazy stuff. So they're playing in the game too, right? They're doing what they can to steer you from getting 1,001 streaming platforms at this point.
Well, I think it really comes down to this. They're retaining the old customer base that wants to have cable TV and wants to have live broadcast and also sports. But you're also getting the younger audience that is going to be more prone to watching the content on a tablet or a different type of screen and wants to have that, I don't want to watch a show now. I want to watch it at 10 o'clock when I'm in bed with my tablet, right? So it's the best of both worlds for them. And hopefully the cost is such that it all tucks under and doesn't need these outrageous increases.
Let me tell you something about Bell and Rogers. Number one, customer retention. A hell of a department. They will always help you if you tell them that you're ready to jump ship. Secondly, for these more expensive packages, every couple of months, there's always a major sale.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's that.
Indeed.
All right,
everybody, it's worst time.
It's time for the worst of the worst of the worst. We tend to have a lot of fun with the worst ofs anytime we do any list. So let's talk about worst played, watched, read platform of 2021, starting with played. We're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to start with Phil.
My worst video game of the year is Pixel Junk Raiders on Stadia. It sucked.
Amazing.
It sucked so bad, and I wanted it to be so good. And I played it for 5 minutes and said, this stinks. And then I went back and played it for 5 more minutes and said, it really stinks. Shit game.
Yeah, I can
Angry
imagine.
Phil has spoken.
Angry Phil has
for me to
spoken. Oh, there's a
anchor
cloud.
Stadia
You can
on
start
that
yelling at it.
Oh my God, it was probably named Pixel Junk Raiders.
What was it that you hated about it?
Just everything. The game sucked. It's slow. It's just the interface. The graphics were kind of cool in a retro way. And this was the company that did Jet Set Radio or something like that, like back in the day on the old Sega.
I know which one.
And I was all excited about that and that link, and yeah, it just didn't translate well at all.
Yeah, Jet Set Radio is honestly one of my favorite games, period. Between that and Space Channel 5, those two Dreamcast games were just wonderful.
Yeah. Did not do what I wanted it to. Maybe it's reborn again. I don't know, but it sucked for that week that I tried it and I tried it and I tried it. And yeah, disappointment is the word for me.
All right, Tyler, worst played in 2021.
Evil Genius 2. It's a sequel to a game from like a decade ago. And it's still selling for $45.49. It has a mixed review on Steam. I loved the original. This is just the original again. Like, it's almost impossible. So it's a base management game where you play like a Bond-style evil villain, and you have to take over the world. And it very quickly is just. I would not be surprised to find out that the developing company is using it to mine crypto.
Ooh.
because so much of this game is just like you set stuff up and you sit and you wait. Like it's almost like a mobile game for the sheer amount of like, all right, well, I'm going to send this person to go on a mission, and it's going to take 25 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just kind of sit and I watch my base and I don't do anything.
And your CPU and GPU are at like 100%.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, cool.
GPU.
Cooking an egg.
Let me tell you about I told you guys about my GPU issues.
Also, 1 year out. How many pieces of paid DLC do you think it's already out?
1 year? I'm going to say 6.
A 4.
5.
Split the
5 pieces, ranging from 465 to 569 Canadian.
Jesus Christ.
What do they give you? Only mechanics that make the game worse. Do you want robot minions that just make the game harder and you are better off not using them? That'll be $6.
Oh my God.
It's just bad.
Yeah.
And it's still getting like major balance and performance patches.
That's crazy.
It's
Oh,
bad.
man.
Just
Oh.
bad.
Oh, well, all right. So, my
Boris?
worst game of 2021. It's funny because almost any other year, this game would have been best. But I don't know what Konami was thinking. I think I answered my question thinking or by saying the name Konami. And that is eFootball 2022. What the hell happened to Pro Evolution Soccer? What used to be the best soccer game, much better than FIFA, has turned into an absolute fucking joke. It's literally turned into pay to win.
Well, they copied FIFA.
Yeah.
Come on,
God.
man. They're making money over there, and we're losing it perennially. What do we gotta do? Screw the customer. Ah, okay, we got you.
Such a bad
You-
game. It's such a bad game.
God.
Yeah, I know. The Christopher Walken there. Graphics, honestly, feel like it's from 2011. The gameplay, absolutely ridiculous. The sound effects, horrible. It sounds like, we recorded that in a living room, and it's just not a fun game. Connection issues. The games are broken up in the middle of the actual game. It's just not a good game whatsoever. Konami being Konami. Like I said, as soon as I said, what is Konami thinking? I'm like, oh, well, that answered my own question right there. It's
Yep.
Konami.
Sadly, yeah. I'm not shocked by that.
Horrible game. Horrible game. I don't know what's happening with these sports games. Sports games are just not fun anymore.
I know this is the first year I haven't bought FIFA, and I downloaded the demo, and I still don't even have the 10 hours, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Sure. Football.
Yep.
Make that
Exactly.
trade.
All right,
Oh,
we
my
are going
goodness.
to move to watched. We're going to start with movies. Phil, worst movie of 2021.
Oh, this is epically nasty. This is just not a nice movie. It was on Amazon Prime. I don't know if that piece of crap movie is still there. Breach with Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah.
It is seriously, this was when I figured out, because I complained to Boris in our chat about how bad a Bruce Willis movie could be. And Boris said that apparently Bruce goes on set and his deal is that he's going to be on set for X time and then he's off set.
3
that's
days.
it. That's 3 days. Okay.
Usually 3 days.
I'm pretty sure he was drunk for those 3 days.
Yep.
And filmed anyway.
Yep.
And the budget is so terrible.
Yep.
The acting is unbelievably shambolic. The story is practically non-existent. I couldn't even finish it. I wanted to break my TV. That's how bad it was.
Isn't this the movie that takes place over the span of a few days and Bruce Willis is literally wearing the same clothes throughout the entire movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
I mean, yeah, that's a big problem he has right now. A lot of the time you only get him for one day, and like you can't afford costume changes.
Yeah.
Ugh. I've never seen the decline of a character, of a person on film to this degree, but this movie is the hallmark note of garbage. Like, if you don't believe me, go find it and fire it up, and you're gonna know within 10 minutes how terrible this movie is. It's absolutely. I had to sit here for about 3 seconds before I remembered the Bruce Willis movie on Amazon Prime, Breach. Oh God, what a disgusting film. Enjoy. I could have picked it for my Christmas movie, but
No. All right, Tyler.
I'm not
worst
mean.
movie of 2021.
Dear Evan Hansen.
Ooh, I
It's
have heard
one of the worst
horrible
movies
things
ever
about that.
made.
Yeah.
So I will say, it did give us the Lindsay Nichols video. Now, who was it? One of the YouTuber people. It gave us Jenny Nicholson's a needlessly thorough roast of Dear Evan Hansen, which is about the same length as Evan Hansen and is a better watch than Dear Evan Hansen. And it's just her dunking on it for about an hour and 40 minutes. And my partner and I got real messed up, mentally speaking. We were mixing illicit substances,
Amazing.
and we did a double feature
Oh,
of Jenny Nicholson trashing it and watching the actual movie.
Amazing.
oh.
And we still, watching it for the laughs, could not finish Dear Evan Hansen because it's so bad.
Oh.
It posits, what if a man disguised himself as a 14-year-old and yelled at everyone? Like, one of our ongoing jokes is he talks about, like, oh my God, my life's so hard and no one likes me at school. But every time he does something at school, everyone else seems to be nice to him.
Amazing.
And he's like singing in like a shitty warbling voice, and he's singing as though he's on stage because the guy playing Evan Hansen did it on stage. So he's singing as though he was on stage, which is a different kind of
Totally
singing
different, yeah.
to being in a musical movie, and no one else is doing as though they're on stage.
Wow.
So he just stands
So the
out.
sound balance is off. He'll be belting and performing, and someone else will be giving a very subdued performance next to him. So it makes it look like he is just mentally unwell.
And
Just,
is there a platform I can avoid watching this on?
I think it's on Netflix or coming to Netflix.
Jenny Nicholson's A Needlessly Thorough Roast of Dear Evan Hansen is on YouTube. It's available for free on YouTube.
Right.
Watch that instead.
Yeah, but the source movie is Netflix, you
I
think?
think it's coming out on Netflix.
You can currently rent it. This is saying you can rent it everywhere.
Okay, so find it on your friend's Plex.
Yeah.
It's funny
I
because
don't
like
even think I'll find it.
I've had
So-
zero interest in the musical, in the movie, in everything about this thing.
Yeah, same.
As the most bananas part is, so it is supposed to be, allegedly, and now they're walking it back, but allegedly it's supposed to be like a feel good about what it's like to suffer with social anxiety and depression
Right.
and stuff. And I suffer with those, and everyone I know who suffers with social anxiety and depression loathes it. Because it makes it look like if you just have a little bit of anxiety and depression, you might be willing to manipulate everyone around you. Like, Evan Hansen is a psychopath. The
Right.
actions he undertakes in this movie are insane.
I believe they call it a sociopath when you don't plan it, right?
Like, he plans it, though.
Oh, okay. Then he's a
You don't
psychopath, yeah.
understand.
Okay.
So the plot is he writes a letter to himself talking about what a good day it was, except it wasn't. It was a bad day. And then at school, He does this in the school computer lab, and then he prints it for some reason. And then a bully kid takes it, reads it, and makes fun of him, and then leaves, but keeps the letter and sticks it in his pocket. And then the bully kid kills himself. And then the family is like, oh, he had this letter from you, or to you, because it's written, Dear Evan Hansen. He must have been your best friend. He addressed the suicide note to you. And Evan Hansen's like, I do want to sleep with your daughter, so yes.
Oh.
And that's the movie. And then later, another girl's like, I want to raise money for an orchard. We should talk about this friendship and how important it was. And he's like, fine, I'll aid you in defrauding people to raise money for an orchard? ? Because that's
my
good for
God.
mental health. How is an orchard helping mental health of kids? What money do you need to run an orchard for people just to walk through? It's like, it's not a commercial enterprise. You just go wander around the trees.
Holy shit.
You know, it is the most fucked up movie ever.
The amount of people. Now I'm gonna think about the people who I know who have praised this, and I'm gonna question them.
It's fucked up.
Amazing.
Like, the amount of
Wow.
homophobic jokes in it is bananas. The amount of times he has to keep being like, oh, but I totally not gay with him, because that'd be weird. And it's like,
Wow.
and he keeps saying that because he wants to sleep with the dead guy's younger sister. And his in is, yes, I did know your brother. And I know, in the narrative of this movie, he has probably been physically abusive to you. But I'm going to tell you, woman I am attracted to, how much your brother talked to me about you paying compliments to your looks.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh boy.
And then the
Man.
daughter goes to the mom and is like, he was physically abusive. And the mom's like, he had challenges. We all have challenges sometimes. It's insane. It is insane.
Okay, I need to watch this just for it. Just
That was
oh
very
my
dramatic. Like, wow.
God. I'm gonna do no justice on this one. I'm just gonna go very quickly. So the worst movie of 2021 for me is Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. This was horrible. This takes an iconic character like Snake Eyes and just poops on it. You know, I actually had to think, what was worse? Wolverine or Snake Eyes? Wolverine
Oh, Snake Eyes.
or Snake Eyes? Snake Eyes was 1,000 times worse.
I don't even care which Wolverine movie you're talking about. It's still Snake Eyes.
I didn't hate Snake Eyes. I just didn't think it was good. I didn't
Isn't
hate
it like weirdly racist at parts?
Oh yeah, very. It's very
yeah,
racist
there
that
was
part.
weird stuff going on in that movie, but it tried to do the cool stuff from the 80s. But again, I'm at a different time space because I grew up with Snake Eyes being the coolest G.I. Joe character.
Exactly.
Was. Like him and Storm Shadow were like, oh my God, we used to buy the comic books to know more about the duels between Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. So there were elements from those things in this, but
Yeah.
it wasn't well done. I'm
No, it
not going to
wasn't.
argue with you.
Yeah. Honorable mention to Red Notice. Honorable mention to Venom. Honorable mention to
Oh.
Jungle Cruise.
Oh, well, Jungle Cruise at least gets better if you give it a second try.
No,
Venom,
Jungle Cruise
oh.
gets real good if you just accept what it is. You just go like, hey, I'm going to watch Pirates of the Caribbean again.
Yeah.
And you get high while doing it.
There we go. That's
There's
the way to
no
watch
redeeming
it.
qualities for Venom, too. Oh, my God.
So, quick brief tangent. You just need to answer yes or no. Do you think it'd just be better at this point if they just did Venom as like a rom-com between Eddie Brock and Venom with random like action scenes in it? Like just lean in and just do it as a rom-com.
Yeah.
I would
Like,
pay to
similar how
watch that.
Deadpool,
I would pay to
Like-
watch that.
like Deadpool 1 did it. Deadpool 1,
Yeah.
it's like it's a romance movie.
I
Just
think I agree.
just have them have couples problems. Like legit have them go to like therapy and actually like not like have the jokes be how weird that is. not them just being shitty.
Oh God.
That is actually hilarious. I would pay a lot of money to watch it.
It would be
You
fun.
could make a whole Disney Plus show out of this. It'll be
It'd
like
be so good.
yeah.
Because you could go into like,
it would be a star show.
you could do so much with it though. Because you could be like, oh man, you do jokes of like Venom really likes Downton Abbey, for example.
Mm.
Yeah.
But like Eddie Brock doesn't want to watch it, and
Doesn't
that could be
wanna
a
watch it.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It'd be like the Odd Couple, except a lot more hilarious because it's the same
100%.
person.
And they just kill people sometimes.
Yeah. They just go have some brains.
Oh my God!
But
You know what?
that's the
This needs to happen, Tyler.
I'm writing to Marvel right now.
Dear Disney, dear
Damn,
Kathleen
Mr.
Kennedy.
Stanley.
I was so mad at Woody Harrelson in Venom 2. This would have been better. Redo it now.
Dear Mr. Who's the fuck's in charge?
Feige, come on.
No, Eichmann?
Bob Chapek.
Chapek, right? It's Chapek
Chapek.
now. Dear Mr. Chapek, Venom 1 was truly one of the greatest movies of all time. What happened with Venom 2? Please find and close my screenplay treatment.
Kevin Feige doesn't know what he's doing, and we got to replace Sony.
Oh, I was trying to do the it was an old cut. I was doing my voice for I think years ago now when we found George R.R. Martin's letter to Stan Lee from like 1967. And it's just so like George R.R. Martin is writing like he's 8.
Yeah.
He's like, "Dear Mr. Stanley," and I haven't done the math. I don't know how old he'd actually be, but it's like Fantastic Four, whatever, was not only one of the greatest comics of the week, but it's also one of the greatest comics of all time.
Yeah.
In turn, this means
48.
one of the greatest pieces of literature.
He would have been 48 at that time.
Would he?
Amazing. This is why I love the worst stuff. The worst stuff.
We can riff on it, man.
I forgot where we were for a second. We are on worst TV show of 2021. Phil, what was your worst TV show of 2021?
This might surprise you. I battled between Invasion on Apple TV Plus and Foundation for a real pick. Like, I really wanted to like Foundation, but it got way up its own ass. It was just like, oh my God, this became such a complicated time jump, time back, time forward, time jump, time back, time forward. Like every week was like, Lee Pace bringing the awesomeness that he is, but I just felt like it fell down more than it hit its stride. Hopefully season 2, if there is one, can fix it.
Yeah.
But it just was a huge miss. Like it just became about everything around it and not the actual show. Like Lee Pace takes off his shirt, walks in desert.
Oh, it's Lee Pace,
Twitter
as
for-
he should.
Yeah. Yeah, it just, yeah, I don't think that there was anything defining that just left me not liking it very much at the end of it. So I guess maybe for me, it's on my worst because it had the most hype.
Mm-hmm.
Had the most possibility to be, the Mandalorian killer or to be the next Game of Thrones in space.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't achieve it at all.
Alrighty then. Tyler, worst TV show of 2021.
I had a lot of difficulty with this one.
Same here.
There is, and trying to be even-handed because I don't think reality TV in and of itself is a garbage genre.
Oh, a lot
Not
of
what
it
I'm
is.
trying to say. But there were a number of things in 2021 for reality television
I swear to God, if
that
you
I
take my
think
pick, I'm going to freak out. Go ahead, sorry.
speak to our problems just as a species. So I'm going to have to go with the tie between Selling Sunset because my partner watches it. And I literally cannot be on the same floor of the house. I have found nothing that is so offensive
Right?
to the sensibilities of anyone who has to work a real job.
Yes. Agreed.
Like, these people make obscene amounts of money. Mostly just with nothing.
Let me.
And the other one
Yeah. Go ahead.
is Motel Makeover
Oh
on
yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Because first, like that one is layered for the problems in it. They are bad for the town. They are actively making a community worse. They are putting mom and pop companies out of business because they're good at Instagram. And I'm not mad at people being good at Instagram. I'm bad at, like, I grew up in a small town that saw the fabric of the community get torn to shreds by a Walmart coming in. And that's what this is, right? This is what we're seeing of, like, people cannot afford to live in their own towns anymore. And that's fucked up to shit.
Yep.
And everyone in that show is just so done with them. And I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah. I agree with you on both of those shows. I just can't. People who make fun of me for watching reality TV swear by Selling Sunsets. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious?
Look, I'm not saying if you like Selling Sunset, you're a bad person. But I'm saying if you like Selling Sunset, talk to your doctor about an MRI because I'm concerned you have brain damage.
Oh, it's hilarious considering the person who would praise this show. And anyways, so worst TV show of 2021 for me. There, I'm gonna have to call out two, both in the reality TV-ish genre. The worst show by far, Tiger King 2. I couldn't even make it past the first episode. Now, I just want to swing by that one. But what is wrong with humanity when a show like Alter Ego can honestly make the airwaves? Do you guys know this show, Alter Ego?
No.
Okay, you think The Masked Singer was bad. This is The Masked Singer with the avatars.
Yeah, this is dumb. This is insane.
Avatars. Computer-generated avatars. Avatars. Alter Ego. Makes The Masked Singer look like a normal show. Makes The Running Man from the movie The Running Man and the book The Running Man seem like a good idea.
Wow.
Alter.
You guys watch way too much
Ego.
reality TV.
Don't watch it.
I love how you had to put in the caveat, I can't even be on the same floor when that shit's on.
I can't.
Oh, so funny.
Because they'll literally just own, like, oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna be a bitch to this person because fuck them. And it's like, make 7 figures, if not 8.
Yep. It's ridiculous. It's like, absolutely ridiculous.
Real estate agents do not deserve to exist anymore. It's a bullshit guild that extracts useless money. You want some like capitalist stuff? Get rid of the artificial monopoly real estate agents have. When their entire fucking job could be done by an app.
Yep,
and
pretty much.
You can contact us at www.itscanonpodcast.com. Hate mail can be sent to Tyler at It's Canon Podcast.
I still know the password. I won't read it. Just send it to the void.
Anyways, let's move on. So we are now in the red category. Phil, what is the worst thing you read in 2021?
That's harsh when you say it's the worst thing I read, but it was the thing I least enjoyed. And that was probably Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I really wanted to give this thing a shot. I listened to the audiobook. The spider thing, the voice was just grating after a
That
while.
is so bad. That was a bad choice.
Yeah, and it affected my enjoyment of the novel. I think overall, the bleakness of the novel appealed to me. The ending and everything about it, I won't ruin it for anybody, but you can give it a shot. If you really like The Martian, you may like this.
Yeah.
But it is not a regular type of novel at all. For me, it really challenged in a lot of areas. But that being said, it does have structure and it is an actual accomplished novel. So I was just really frustrated with some parts of it.
Yeah.
But again, it might just be the audible choices that affect the enjoyment, right? Like it's not just me sitting down with a book anymore. I'm putting a layer there where they're reading it or enhancing it, whereas it can make something better or something else. I found it detracted on this front.
No, 100%. I did the audiobook, and that was one of the worst voice choicing things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
They thought it added, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah, no. Did not.
It did
And the
not.
fact that, like, I get why they made the choices that they did. They all made sense. But the amount of conversation that was happening with that character and the barriers and oh my God.
So the barriers I could get behind, because again, that's like The Martian of like you have a series of technical challenges.
Yes.
And we're gonna walk you through how we solve these technical challenges. And I'm like, all right, if you liked The Martian,
yeah,
it's a lot of that again.
You're gonna get the reason why they did the things that they did and how they got it through it and everything like that. I get that. But then it was just the context of the language and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like watching my premiere try to deal with a pandemic. It's frustrating.
Oof. Oh, that's a kick in the gonads, but it's a good one. All right, Tyler, worst read in 2021.
Again, another one I had problems with because there's so many options. There's so much bad stuff this year. And I thought about doing the low-hanging fruit of like any goddamn political book that came out this year. Because like, honestly, I don't know if you should be allowed to just write shitty books if you're a former politician or a current politician, because it's just become a way to launder money, and they're terrible. They're just all bad.
So they all invest in NFTs.
Well, and then I was like, maybe the new Hulk after Immortal Hulk, because the whiplash of ending Immortal Hulk to what came next is what's wrong with the ongoing shared universe in comics.
Yes.
Because it's just like, oh, you literally had like one of the greatest Hulk things ever, and now like herp burp, and you're like, all right, fine, whatever.
Yep. Agreed.
But and I'm really sorry that I'm doing this, fellas, but I have to say Afterlift by Chip Zdarsky and Jason Liu.
Yeah.
And I like most of their work.
I can see that.
And I've met Lou. I like him. But this was one of the worst comics I've ever read.
Yeah. I agree with you.
It felt like the script to a pilot of a TV show that got rejected, or like we were going to do an ongoing series and decided not to. And it's like, cool, but you just finished the setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Which, I'm a huge fan of Chip Zdarsky, so I would read anything that he's kind of attached to. And when I read this, I'm just like, I actually had to like stop, look at like the front, and I'm like, oh, I did pick up the right comic. Like, it just was not good.
And it won an Eisner.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
I don't know. It's bad.
Well, let me throw my pick in the game, and we're gonna stick to comics. And I'm pretty sure that this was my choice from last year, and it's going to be my choice from this year, and it's the entire Batman run from 2021. James Tynion to Joshua Williamson made zero change. Batman is honestly the single worst comic book out right now. I don't know how you can take it from literally, the Scott Snyder, amazing, like the best comic out, arguably best superhero comic out, to this is a fucking joke.
Wow.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how bad Batman is right now.
We also, I think,
cool?
should talk about.
Sorry, is it drawn cool?
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm just wondering
It
where
depends
the hook is.
who depends who's the artist. It changes up a lot.
Okay, I was just looking for an angle.
Look, sometimes, anytime John Romita Jr. touches it, it's going to be a shit issue, both written and visual. It's bad.
Sorry, go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say, like, is it worse than the Ruby Justice League crossover, which almost got mine, in part because, and I think we didn't cover my concerns with it because of the COVID insanity, but like the art in it just was not finished.
Yeah,
there were sections where it's like, oh, this person is hovering in midair, and that's not like they're flying. It's someone fucked up the perspective. At one point, Wonder Woman has 2 left legs.
Ooh, lucky.
And it's just like, it's just bad.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't get through it. I picked it up at one point, but I just couldn't. Dude, this is something that we got for free. This is something that I had previews of, and I couldn't even do it.
Yep. It was bad.
It was bad.
So much. I mean, separately, there's so much bad coming out right now, and it boggles my mind.
Yeah. There's so much bad right now in general. All right, so that is the worst
good. Hug it.
Red of 2021. Let's all move to the worst platform, and I have a weird, strange feeling we're all going to pick the same one, but let's go through this. Phil, worst platform of 2021.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to pick the same as you guys, but
I think you're wrong on this one, Boris.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I'm going to choose Netflix again just for canceling Cowboy Bebop. No. I just hate how they cancel everything. I'm getting tired of it. It's really interfering with my attempt to even watch a show on Netflix.
Yep.
I was so scared watching Sweet Tooth because I was scared they were going to cancel it a week after Sweet Tooth.
Exactly. Jupiter's Legacy.
Everything has
canceled.
fear.
Cowboys Bebop.
Yeah.
Canceled. Anything you like. Canceled. Anything that's going into season 3.
Canceled.
Season 3. Canceled.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
Because that's when they have to
unless its
renegotiate.
viewership is insane.
Yeah.
Yep. It's annoying as a customer. Gotta say.
It is. And the fact that we're going to be paying more now.
Yeah, we're going to pay more. But, we're getting red notice and pieces of tripe like that on
Red
the screen.
Notice, worst movies ever.
I know, but that's the thing, right? Like, that's what we're getting on Netflix is just this constant churn of chum. And the things that truly take a gamble on it. Okay, say what you want about Cowboy Bebop. It may not have been your thing, but at least it tried to stay true to the source material, and it tried to do something a little bit different as well in that same vein. Sure, they underdeveloped a major character in it. Sure, they left another major character out of it until the end. But to me, that means that they're actually going to do something that's going to reward the fans even more in the next season, right? There's opportunities. There's chances to enhance and reflect and explain. But if you're on Netflix, you're not going to get it unless you're Squid Game. So, frustrating.
Yeah,
that's my rant.
Totally get it. Tyler, worst platform of 2021?
YouTube. YouTube. Like, I thought for everyone, but it's like, if you don't pay for stuff and you want some of like the weird shit we used to get out of YouTube, it's all being driven off the platform.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Like Lindsay Ellis she quit YouTube. She was one of the highest grossing people on Patreon for her YouTube series. And just like, no, done.
Yeah.
It's so bad if you are like anyone who's outside of like a more mainstream thing. And it's worth noting that ends up being bad for everyone down the road, right?
Mhm.
Like when you have right-wing nut jobs who are increasingly able to get away with anything on the YouTube platform, and like people who are relatively like for Canada or Europe, not very lefty at all, are getting banned for like bananas little stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be real bad real soon. And I don't know, like fucking Steven Crowder just can do whatever he wants.
Yep. Pretty much.
You can just do hate crime after hate crime, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Ugly underside.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's just. Yeah, we're
And
not
like, it's that, and like the number of ads gets higher and higher and higher, combined with like, you know, let's say I want to watch Binging with Babish. All right, so now for a 10-minute Binging with Babish episode, I have his sponsorship.
Mhm.
I have 4 ads.
Jeez.
Yeah, honestly, Phil, you have no idea how.
Oh, I've seen it. Like I
Yeah.
say, I've seen it. But on the regular, by and large, I watch my stuff on consoles, computer, whatever. I'm logged in. Hey, man, I go watch my Hot Ones Chicken Wing Show, First We Feast, and I get 20 minutes of Sean Evans having a great discussion with a guest.
Yeah.
No problem at all. No ads, nothing. Just here's our hot sauces. We're gonna make you sweat. You know?
Yep.
It is a difference maker, man. It is a difference maker. But if you're gonna spend $21 a month on Netflix and just be frustrated, spend the $10 on YouTube and alleviate yourself of that kind of crap. I also don't mix it up in the political realm whatsoever.
Sure.
YouTube for me is, hey, look, I want to do research on X product. I want to do research on X thing. I want to watch a show about this. There's YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But I don't mess with the algorithm. I don't let it suggest shit to me at all. But that's something that I've always avoided with the YouTube.
Yeah,
Boris?
exactly. Netflix, 100% Netflix for me. Every reason that you said, including the price increase, is just leading to more and more frustration. And we're getting to a point where Netflix is going to be losing so much because everyone has a streaming service that, they're going to have to really focus on original programming. And we've seen, it's either very good stuff or very bad stuff. Everyone gets a shot, which is great. But I find it increasingly difficult to give something a chance on Netflix just because I don't know if it's going to last, just like Phil said.
Yeah. But you're going to get red notice too.
Yeah, well.
Woo!
That's the worst part in all this is like the crap rises to the top, man.
Yep. All right. That is the worst of 2021, guys. Just quickly, 2022 is going to be a hell of a year. We have MCU galore. We have the DCEU trying to change things up. And then there's always, the sprinklings of the random stuff that just pops up. I think 2022 is going to be a very interestingly fun year. And I really don't know where the hell we're going to be this time next year in 2023.
Hey,
Fuck.
man.
I don't even know where I'm going to be next week at this point.
Yep. Guys, we got a lot of Star Wars coming up for 2022.
And
We got
bajillion Marvel things.
Yeah, we got Obi-Wan, we got Ahsoka, potentially. We got season 3 Mando, we got Acolyte words being spoken. We've got a lot of stuff in the powder keg, Andor. So, man, could be a fun year if you're a Star Wars fan. That's for sure. It's going to be a fun year if you're an MCU fan.
You said it.
All right. And if you're looking to talk to us angry old men and youngins, you can track us down on www.itscanonpodcast.com. You can look us up on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Canon Podcast. You can email us at show@itscanonpodcast.com. You can subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere where you find podcasts, you're going to find the It's Canon Podcast. If you like what you hear, make sure to click the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever we drop one of these crazy episodes. And if the platform allows, please leave a rate and review. And tell your friends to listen to the It's Can podcast. We'd love to have them along for the ride.
Exactly. I want to thank all listeners, new and old, long-time, first-time listeners. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to the It's Can podcast. The podcast where we talk about anything and everything. The podcast where we talk about everything geek, everything pop culture, everything nerd. And the best part about it all is what, Phil?
Apparently, I heard somebody tell me it's all in canon.
Exactly. Have a great 2022. Stay safe. We will be here for the long ride, and we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. But until then, he's Phil. He's Tyler. I'm Boris. Good night.